Welcome everyone to New Reality Collective. Hey boy, so things flew under the radar 2 days ago when now it's being public knowledge now and like, well, it's pissing everyone off. Uh, so what happened is that EA had a document leak. Will now leak. What happened? Well, there was a document leak, but I'll get to that. But the big thing that happened was so EA had gotten attacked by fans after for promoting microtransactions for FIFA in a magazine for children. So FIFA 21 mistakes, all FIFA mistakes on Twitter, said put your two eyes on step two, and according to this magazine image, step one, playing FIFA Ultimate Team, use FIFA points to open packs. 3, build your dream squad, and 4, take them to the pitch and play. Essentially saying, so just screw the kids over and get them addicted to gambling. So this led to a massive basic riot on the internet over EA's continued need to be unethical, which is like I was thinking to myself, yeah, EA, you didn't learn your lesson. Remember the surprise mechanics controversy you pulled last year during the court case in the UK, during the investigation hearing in the UK, and we all know how that one ended. Technicality. So yeah, when I heard this, I was like, oh no. I heard this from Yang Yi, and I was just stunned at the arrogance that EA possessed, that they had the gall to put this thing in a kids magazine encouraging gambling to kids so they can get addicted. We're already in a world where addiction is at a point where it effectively has ruined a lot of lives, and where you have stuff like social media, you have the phones, you have the tablets and everything, and with everything going on now, and then you got parents sometimes not being negligent about it and not knowing the dangers of everything. It's disheartening, so to speak, that EA is only encouraging the problem and not, trying to be a relief effort. But yeah, it's just shame. It's just a darn shame. And EA pulling this stunt makes things even worse because now they're actively saying, go gamble for us because we still make money for virtual packs that will be useless after a year. And even then, it might be useless like right out of the gate. So, yeah. Like, and I was, and like, EA was trying to act like they can change, and no, that's not how this works. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You either adapt with the times, aka a stop with the gambling and actually focus on making great games, foreign concept, but at the same time, it's not going to do that. They're not going to see that EA's pulling this. So yeah. So, in wrestling news, Miro says going to work at WWE could be dreadful, according to with Chris Van Vliet. He did an interview with them. Miro admitted that while he's always been happy going to work at WWE, it was somewhat dreadful. I've never been worried about anything, even before. It doesn't matter what people think. I've always been happy, always been happy. Just going to work at WWE was a bit of a dreadful moment because now that's gone, there are no dreadful moments in my life at all. So, yeah. Miro says he wasn't the WWE nowadays can be dreadful, especially when they have an environment of insanity, or the COVID virus crisis that happened like the last several times, and what they're going through right now. And AEW keeps trying to be this fun promotion for a lot of people who want a fresh start. And Muro's doing well. I'm hoping he does well. I hope he eventually does get a chance at the title within a year or so. Probably two, since 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 they like to take their time with things. But Yeah, I'm just glad the guy is happy. Like some people have said they kind of miss him being the big Bulgarian brute, but I was like, but it's like, well, but and I had this conversation with a guy from Third Eye Games. Shout out to that company of awesome comic people and game people. So what happened was I had talked to the one of the register guys, and he said that he does miss the Rusev gimmick, the Bulgarian Brute. And I said, well, I think Miro kind of didn't like being that to the biggest extent. He still did like being at a high place, but I argue that maybe Miro also wanted to showcase that he's more than just a big, bulky crusher, hate America man, and wanted to showcase more of his personality while still proving, oh, I can kick ass as well. So I get the feeling he wants to be more relatable with people. Granted, some people also made the argument that it also devalues the larger than life mentality, except this is not the 80s anymore. You can. It's one of the reasons why people kind of got sick with Cena to some extent, because everyone hated Cena being too powerful. Eventually, it reached a point where it's like you can't have it both ways, I think. You want this, but you also want this. You want Cena to be a heel and be relatable and more grounded with realism, or you want him to be an unstoppable force, meaning the immovable object. But it can't go that way. If it did, that it would be a perfect formula. But WWE can't really produce that nowadays. But yeah, it's hard to make a larger than life guy, especially in 2020. It's not like 80s. It's not like the 80s when there was not when the internet wasn't that big or even a thing at the time. So yeah, you have to guarantee that a lot of things have changed. Like Roman, he's been pushed how many years and how many times, and he's now starting to feel like a larger than life athlete after all those years of them trying to say he's one of you guys. He's the big dog in a little bitty pond and all that. But it's like you can't make that work because you're not making him relatable enough. You're trying to say he's relatable, but you're not showing us him being relatable. And that's really the biggest problem regarding larger than life wrestlers, because it's hard to make that, especially when WWE has repeatedly been leaked in documents saying we don't like larger than life athletes because they don't want them to get big. Because if they get big, they'll start thinking, I don't think I need WWE. I can do anything I want. My name is as big as WWE. I can just go places and make money on my own without anyone yelling at me. I think I can do that. Which is why I'm pretty sure The Rock and CM Punk were the big determining factors in that, because Rock left for Hollywood, Punk got enough edge in the company to some extent, and WWE had to use The Rock to basically cripple it, and John Cena. But then John Cena left, and therefore WWE was like, we can't afford another loss like that. We need to shackle everyone and put that glass ceiling down. So, yeah, big thing all around in regards to that. I'm not sure what would be the point in continuing that idea that WWE needs to continue this trend of let's just screw everyone over because we're scared, we're worried if someone gets big. Yeah, there's bad stuff all around, I think, in hindsight, but it is what it is at the end of the day. It really is. You want to change the WWE, but it's hard to really do that when the company doesn't want it to change. So, George R. Martin came out and told Entertainment Weekly he actually did not like a certain scene in the show's 8-season run, came at the very start. Game of Thrones was working with a modest budget. Okay, of $6 million per episode. Due to this, and pursuing the other factor, scenes where King Robert goes hunting were scaled back beyond Martin's liking. So, yeah, he didn't like that. Where we really fell down in terms of budget was my least favorite scene in the entire show in all 8 seasons. King Robert goes hunting. 4 guys walking on foot through the woods carrying spears, and Robert is getting Renly in the books. Robert goes off hunting. We get where he was gored by a boar, and they bring him back and he dies, so I never did a hunting scene. but I knew what a royal hunting party was like. There would have been hundred guys. There would have been pavillons. There would have been huntsmen. There would have been dogs. There would have been horns blowing. That's how a king goes hunting. So, however, it was shown that uh, King Robert is shown hunting with with only three others, and the sequence has minimal props. However, Martin acknowledged that because Game of Thrones was an unproven project during the first season, we couldn't afford horses or dogs or pavillons. So yeah, I totally get that. It's not like so it wouldn't be and you can't like go back and fix it go back and edit it unless you want to make the entire whole thing different because like I said, it would be different because you would get a bigger budget, yeah, especially now, even after the failure of the eighth season. But the fact is, I think the big difference is, well, you see, the problem was the difference would be that you would have to rewrite everything. You would have to rewrite that particular sequence. You would have to get the cast back together. You had to get CGI involved. You had to basically do a whole bunch of things on the level of the Star Wars original trilogy alterations. And we all know people hate those a lot, even though I don't particularly have a problem with it. But at the end of the day, that's really a big opinion on for people. But yeah, it's certainly a thing that really need that. At least he was more open. Like, okay, I get why. I'm like, I don't like it, but I get why they did it. So they couldn't afford it at the time. So I totally get it. I totally get it. So NBA 2K21 release date for PS5 and Xbox Series X and whatnot confirmed. So what was announced was the release date. It's set to launch. Will begin the confirm the next gen editions will begin its rollout on November 10th, and as a launch title for the Xbox X and Series S. So get barely hyped for that. I mean, like, yeah, they did say the new edition for the console is built from the ground up for them. But because of that, there's no cross-gen multiplayer support, and the game costs $10 more, and Take-Two defended the price, even though people don't want it. So yeah, and on the on the previous console, it got a 6 out of 10 on GameSpot's review, so it's a mixed reception, I think. And after the debacle of last time, I don't think people trust it that much, even if you said it's 100% different. So, Orville creator Seth MacFarlane gives an update on season 3, saying the show is continuing despite the pandemic. So, let's see. In an Instagram chat with Jessica, I'm not pronouncing that last name, who plays Lieutenant Talakele on the show, MacFarlane said that work on the show is continuing, but there's not much he can say. As reported by Deadline, MacFarlane said to his co-star, "All I can say is we are working on it. We're working on it very hard. We got hit by this just like everyone else, but we're working on it." So they haven't done season 3 yet. They're still in pre-production. And yeah. So also MacFarlane has also been working on a World War II series for NBC. And, on his creations, Family Guy and American Dad. And Family Guy was renewed for 2 more seasons. And it's just begun its 19th season. Yay. So I haven't watched the Orville show, so I probably am not the guy to give a definitive thoughts on that. But yeah, it is. It is okay. I don't know much about Orville, so I don't know if it's just as bad as Modern Family Guy with the satirical takes, especially when they have weird moral lessons they try to push and weird ethical borderline messed up storytelling. But yeah. So EA Play is coming to Game Pass in November as part of the tie of the whole EA Play coming to Xbox Game Pass, the basic version. It was announced that this will be coming out. It would be joining with Game Pass for Game Pass in November, right around the release, right alongside the new Xbox consoles on November 10th. So Yeah, it's set, for example, but this is their basic tier, remember that, which gives you access to a wide variety of EA's back catalog, but not some of the more companies' newer releases. For example, EA Play for PC lineup includes NFSC, but not Command and Conquer Remastered or Fallen Order. That lineup is expected to change before the November launch, though. So, yeah, and especially since this joins up with Bethesda, all the Bethesda's game coming to Game Pass, Doom Eternal coming very soon, and all access payment plans, and the emphasis on the service appears to be Microsoft's ultimate weapon into the new generation. So, yeah, EA Play, I want to say I'm hyped for that because there is a ton of great games they have, especially during this golden age. But, yeah, given everything EA does, you always like to say, I want to say something about that. Sorry, it's a little late here, but I said I would keep going daily, but I'm perfectly all right. I'm just a little tired right now, even though I slept for 12 hours. Anyways, so bad news on CJ Project Red, or CJ CD Project Red, regarding the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077. The development team. Okay, so after indicating the studio would avoid crunch stuff, it has now reportedly insisted it has now reportedly insisted mandatory 6-day work weeks. So it was said in an email report that starting today, the entire development studio is in overdrive. And I know this is a direct opposite to what we said about crunch. Is also and like it was said that the CEO, I believe he was saying, the studio head said, I take it upon myself to receive the full backlash of the decision, he allegedly wrote. He knows this is wrong, but he'll take the fall. I know this is a direct opposition to what we have said about crunch. It's also a direct opposition to what I previously agreed to believe a while back, that crunch should never be the answer, but we've extended all the possible means of navigating the situation. So, yeah. Yeah, this... Okay, like, I know it's like taking it with a grain of salt in returns of what they said regarding we did every possible meeting to do this, but I will acknowledge at the very least he's acknowledging, okay, I'll take the blunt of this. If anything happens, if the industry comes after us, I'm taking the fall. I'm taking the fall for this. I'm protecting you guys. So yeah, the idea that they did this, it's still sad. This leads to me thinking, so wait, you delayed this game so many times just so you could get to backwards compatibility with the upgrade, but now you're telling your workers 6 days a week, finish for each week until the game launches, essentially, which is probably going to strain your work. Okay, in fact, it's not going to strain. It's definitely going to strain them mentally, physically, and yeah, and okay, like I said, I do know they have acknowledged that the studio head is going to take the fall for this once the backlash comes, but this is allegedly wrote, but and they keep saying that we've extended all possible means of navigating the situation. I don't really know. This is a corporation stuff, so I'm not an expert on internal corporate politics. I don't work there, so I don't know if they mean it or not. So, yeah. Still bad all around. I'm hoping those developers make it through, and they better be financially compensated, both physically, mentally, and get some long-winded vacation time away from all this after the game's finished. I'm just hoping. So Disney lays off over 28K employees. The news was revealed in a statement from Disney Parks Experience and Products Chairman. Man, I don't know why I'm yawning. So, Chairman Josh, I'm not going to pronounce his last name. In light of the prolonged impact of COVID on our business, this including limited capacity due to physical distancing requirements and the continued uncertainty regarding the duration of this pandemic, exacerbated in California by state unwillingness to lift restrictions that would allow Disney to reopen, we have made the very difficult decision to begin process of reducing our workforce at our parks, experience and product segment at all levels, having kept non-working cast members on furlough since April while paying health care benefits. The reduction means the company is laying off 28,000 domestic employees, 67 of whom are part-time workers. Disney says it's discussing the layoffs with the employees impacted, as well as the unions representing certain employees. As to when Disneyland and other theme parks potentially open, that remains to be seen. So, yeah. And they were originally set to open back in July, however, that didn't happen as the infection got worse. Currently, indoor shopping and outdoor dining are acceptable in Orange County, where Disneyland is located, meaning that downtown Disney district shopping complex next to the park is open for business. So, bad stuff all around. COVID and Disney's citing the unwillingness of the state because they want to keep everyone safe, is laying off a whole bunch of employees. Sucks. The continuing saga that the continuing saga of Disney's rule of the world has been stopped by COVID. I never thought that would ever happen. Universal Studios revealed new Jurassic World Velocicoaster roller coaster, redundant name. So, it's been billed as Florida's tallest and fastest launch coaster. The Velocicoaster reached speeds of 70 miles per hour in 2.4 seconds and takes rides over 150 feet in the air. It also includes 360-degree barrel roll. Do a barrel roll! And 2 different launches. Given that it's a Jurassic World ride, it's also loaded with dinosaurs and cameos from stars of the Jurassic World films. Press release reads, guests will join the original cast of the films: Chris Pratt as Orange Grady, Bryce Dallas Howard as Claire Daring, B.D. Wong as Dr. Henry Wu as Jurassic World unveils the next evolution of its carnivore expansion, the Velocicoaster, where riders embark on a high-speed chase and feel the rush of the hunt while racing alongside nimble Velociraptor pack. So it also includes an 80-degree drop, the steepest drop in the park, and a zero gravity invented stall. You can take a look at it, and there are videos about it on the internet so you can check out to see about it at Universal Studios' YouTube channel. But oh man, it's just I feel like it's set to open in 2021 in the summer, provided that nothing bad happens between now and then, or the pandemic still lives. But considering how it's been said repeatedly, according to rumors, that we could have a vaccine in the third quarter of next year, I don't have my hopes up. Zac Efron is set to lead Blumhouse's new adaptation of King's novel Firestarter, set to star in it. So he's got casting and whatnot. And it's next up in the remake treat, and yeah, this is part of the new movie, and it was initially announced in 2017. It will be produced by horror juggernauts Blumhouse and Universal Pictures with Jason Blum of Kiva Goldsman, and it's signed on as producers Martha D. Lawrence Stills, those who worked on as associate producer on the 1984, will serve as executive producer. It currently has no anticipated release date, so yeah, expect the random Stephen King insanity. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna take place in May. So yeah, in fact, at this point, should they like start a cinematic universe for the Stephen King stuff, since everything seems to mostly happen in Maine? Notice that every crazy disaster mostly happens in Maine, and no one seems to ever get the hint that, hey, maybe we should move out from Maine because it looks like a disaster. So, the upcoming James Bond movie No Time to Die launches the official James Bond podcast. So, they showed a preview of what's in store for listeners, showcasing snippets from interviews with actors. There's like Daniel Craig and Rami Malek. Both actors discussed the upcoming roles of the 25th James Bond film and how they felt about being part of the production. And so, yeah, it's currently planned to have a theatrical release, but the release date could be pushed back to November 20th due to the virus. But considering how much Tenet has kind of bombed at the box office from the expectations it could have gotten since it's a Christopher Nolan film. Yeah, probably best if you just stopped. So just delay next year. Just sad. Or just go to streaming. So Henry Cavill um was asked about a Man of Steel sequel status, and his so he says this instead of answering, he just says, "Well, I think it's important that we should be about Eleanor Holmes." He then added with a smile, "I said what I said." When the reporter pointed out that his response was like saying, "No comment," without denying the rumors. So yeah, I totally get that this was more about the Netflix movie. Uh, yeah, but I'm thinking to myself, but this is also, but people want to know about Man of Steel because that's been the most mystery about it ever since, the whole rumor that, I'm trying to remember that actor's name. I think it was the actor who played Chris Monger, Chris Brown. Um, yeah, they wanted to get a black guy to play Superman, and I was like, but you have Henry Cavill. Like, I get the scheduling issues due to Mission Impossible, at the time, but I was like, but why reboot the whole thing and make him a black guy? Like, I'm not saying Superman being a black guy is unheard of. There is President Superman, because that was a thing. That's a thing in the multiverse. Oh man, DC universe is crazy. But yeah, Henry Cavill coming back to be part of the DCEU would be kind of fun. Hoping he does, but he's kind of being like basically no comment on it. So Disney Plus adds group watch for up to 7 people, which basically means it's like uh like a watch, like the Let's Watch thing where we get a group of people online and just do a watch thing together and react. But it's not really like like you randomly go online and just find somebody. Basically you have to basically watch for families and friends or anyone you might know and send an invite to. But yeah, I hope they do basically matchmaking stuff, but it is what it is at the end of all this. Though I would be interested if Disney out of nowhere introduced the concept of a less watch feature we could put on YouTube. That would be fun. So, Amazon Lord of the Rings and Netflix's Cowboy Bebop has resumed in production in New Zealand. Hooray! According to Deadline, principal photography has resumed of the Amazon Fantasy series, while filming on Cowboy Bebop is expected to resume on September 30th, which is tomorrow. Both productions were suspended for months, with Lord of the Rings halted in March and Bebop in a holding pattern since October 2019, before the virus hit. So, big stuff, big stuff. Especially Lord of the Rings being very, 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 very detailed on their stuff. But yeah, it's a and all that. So, New Japan Pro Wrestling has had a major shakeup in the company, IWGP and whatnot. Harold Meiji, I'm pretty sure I pronounced his last name wrong, is leaving the company as the CEO. During a board of directors meeting on the 29th today, it was decided current president and CEO Harold Meiji will be replaced by Tamaki Obari, the current CEO of New Japan Pro Wrestling of America. So yeah, he was the first non-Japanese president of the promotion, and the leadership change will take effect on the 10th of October, on the October 23rd. So, oh man, it's gonna be weird. I'm curious. So with this change in leadership, and like people keep saying, "Oh, AEW, AEW, AEW," and I was like, I don't know if they could do that right now, considering the virus. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm kind of curious to know where they go with this, but yeah, just insane that leadership happened. So, anyways, big news regarding Hell in a Cell. So Hell in a Cell is reportedly having its planned main event be Sasha Banks and Bayley. There's a different reasons why I don't like that decision. So Hell in a Cell continues to be that place where it should be the endings of feuds and stories, not the beginning or an extension. Like, again, this bugs me to no end because I'm like, it was reported today by WrestleVotes that Sasha Banks versus women's champion Bayley is the current plan for the Hell in a Cell main event, and that the match will take place inside the structure. Okay. They can't do that. Like, if they do this match, that's it. It's over. It has to end there. You can't extend it and make it an extension feud like you did with Sasha and Charlotte. Because, once more, you can make the greatest Hell in a Cell match in history today, but when you get rid of the element of why Hell in a Cell started in the first place, or even what it became, which was the most famous of it, which was essentially, this is where a very vicious feud calls for it, you diminish its value when you say, oh, it's just now the extension, it's a gimmick, instead of being that, the hell that it brings. Like there's a lot of reasons why people, and I said on Twitter that they should start making Hell in a Cell matter again, and part of my big campaign, make Hell in a Cell matter again, damn it. So here's the thing, I wrote a tweet where I said that Hell in a Cell should matter again, and I advocated that it should be Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Braun Strowman, Sheamus, Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, and Daniel Bryan, and bring back the Armageddon Hell in a Cell match. And I argued that the reason why I said that was because all 6 of these people have an intense, brutal history with one another. Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt's revenge saga against Braun Strowman and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's history with Sheamus. Sheamus's history with Bryan, and to an extent Bray Wyatt. Jey Uso's history with a lot of people, really. Jey Uso's history with Roman. And in fact, Roman would actually be able to carry that moniker, one versus all, in this, because everyone hates the guy, because everyone has a history with him. But there's so much history and layers to it that I feel like that could make make Hell in a Cell matter to a big extent, where you could have all these people who hate each other just brutally kill each other. And so a lot of people agree with me on that. One person told me make it a qualifying match. I said, nah, there's a reason all the guys I selected were put in the match. All these guys have years of unresolved history between them and fought in brutal wars. Part of my make Hell in a Cell matter again proposal. And yeah, that's why I selected these six guys, because that's the idea of how to make Hell in a Cell matter again. You have to get people who outright despise one another and then build off of that. So, and build up to this Armageddon event. So, yeah, Hell in a Cell is October 25th. They could probably still do it if they want, but yeah, I'm hoping they could do a 6-man Hell in a Cell match, because I kind of miss them doing that. They only had done it once because of reasons, but they really should do it again. So on the 24th, it got reported today that WWE has filed trademarks for 2 ring names, Chelsea Green and Dominic Mysterio. So Chelsea Green is now owned by WWE if the trademark is approved, though I am trying to wonder, I know Dominic Mysterio's real name isn't, his first name is Dominic, but I can't pronounce his last name. So I totally get that part. But Chelsea Green, oh man. So if she leaves WWE, she doesn't have her name anymore. That means she has to start back all over again. So RVD and Katie Forbes are no longer part of Impact Wrestling, according to a report from PW Insider. RVD Van Dam had left the company due to their current storylines ending. RVD had reportedly not been under contract with Impact for a while and had been working on a series of short-term agreements. So Yeah, yeah. So RVD is gone now. He hinted at this at one point, but yeah, in an interview with Pro Wrestling Junkies, RVD revealed that he was working with WWE on a couple projects that haven't been made publicly yet. So he could be coming back to WWE. I mean, like after what happened last time, I think it would be best if he didn't. Like, wasn't he turned into a feud with Del Rio, and it didn't really go anywhere? So yeah, remember that incident last year that so remember that incident from earlier this year regarding Victoria coming back for the Royal Rumble, and that didn't happen. But and people said that many speculated the leaks prevented the return. She actually got on an interview and said, "I found out from social media and as well." And I was like, "What?" I go, "Maybe my Titantron had a lot of culling. I don't know, but maybe that did not throw people off. Did that to throw people off? I don't know because it's hard to keep secret in wrestling. Something always leaks. You know what I mean? What a shame." I was just getting off the Jericho cruise. Yeah, I was in Miami. I was trying to stay off my phone because I wanted to be in the moment. I was visiting family. And I was like, we always glued to our phones. So I went back and I had just a ton of emails, messages, and everything. And I was like, they must be testing out the coloring of their Titantron because my picture came up there. But I was already in Miami the following day and I was going to go on the Jericho cruise, so I couldn't. And social media exploded with speculation to the point the story behind the moment or lack thereof was the most requested heading into the interview. The former Terra in TNA never heard anyone from WWE about why her time graphic was used. No, not the company. No, nuh-uh. Just on social media, just going, oh, I didn't respond because I didn't want to. I don't know what to say because I don't know the rack scene because I'm not part of the company anymore. So I couldn't tell you why they were testing it out. So now it's become this big mystery about this. I don't get why they did it. Like if this was part of a testing stuff, it does seem random to use someone who's no longer in the company, and like was this part of a big plan? So yeah, I was confused. Like there were some testing images that leaked that confirmed certain wrestlers were back, so it wasn't surprising when MVP came out. But when the Victoria part, that was when everyone was like, so is she coming back? And then it was confirmed, oh no, she's not. So yeah, I'm still confused by that. NXT continues its momentum to TakeOver 31 with a Cruiserweight Championship bout added to it. Isaiah Swerve Scott has been announced to taking on his title, taking on the Cruiserweight Champion Escobar are at the event, and they put out a press release about how he's the only man to defeat Escobar since Escobar's arrival in NXT. Can Swerve topple the leader of Lego del Fantasma for the third time at NXT TakeOver and become the Cruiserweight Champion? Yeah. Like I like Isaiah Swerve Scott. I actually advocated last year he should have been in the War Games and not Kevin Owens before the Kevin Owens spoiler came out. Also, WWE has reportedly recently said that many of the new NXT call-ups were not given contracts as they were brought up to Raw and SmackDown because Vince hates them. There have been several call-ups in recent weeks that we've heard of that were told that they'd be discussing new deals soon. WWE's rationale was that traveling schedule was already significantly reduced and with cutbacks happening, there was no reason to offer new deals. The money associated in the contract is way below what wrestlers were being offered last year. Okay, yeah, I get the COVID virus. I get that. But I will say that they weren't doing this even before the virus. Yeah, NXT, when they went to USA, they were told this big promise that, oh, you're going to get all these big opportunities now. You're going to get more money out of this. You're going to be treated as a main roster group of people. And Vince never fulfilled that promise because he hates them. At least that's my prediction. Vince doesn't care. So this is more like, oh, you're finally gonna get paid, but it's gonna be lower than what you would have expected because fuck you. So, yeah. Fightful also has the article about Roman Reigns willing to do business and long-term business depending on what is asked. And then he was asked about CM Punk. He says all the way from someone as big as The Rock to someone like a CM Punk, someone who really atoned with our home audience, our hardcore fans. If you watch wrestling for the last 10 to 15 years, it's in your blood. You probably have some kind of feelings about that guy. I know I do. Just by doing one of these things that he made my job a lot harder 5 to 10 years ago. If it's something that fans can get behind and sink their teeth into the product and dive into the creative with us, I'm willing to do it. I don't like the guy. I don't know many people that do, but I'm willing to put business first and make good content. He'd probably need to be slapped around a few times in order to get his mind right. If the fans are going to like it, most likely, I'm going to do it. And Roman and The Rock, however, seems more than willing to fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, so that would be awesome. And also, he was keeping tabs on the match at Clash of Champions, so let's do it. Let's do Rock and Reigns finally. Roman at this new state he's in versus the People's Champ. That would be an awesome match. So, Crash 4 will have new cooperative and competitive multiplayer modes. The first main game in the Crash series to support the multiplayer. Both competitive and co-op modes will work on the passive controller bases. The competitive mode is called Bandicoot Battle and involves two separate minigames for players to race against their friends in. 2 to 4 players can compete head-to-head on any level of their choosing, either by racing be the first checkpoint in checkpoint races or by achieving the biggest combo of crates for the highest score in a crate combo. Players can choose Crash, Fake Crash, Coco, or Fake Coco, who was newly introduced in Crash 4. Players take turns racing through the level and will be able to see ghosts of previous players going through the same level to compete against. The co-op mode is called Pass and Play and allows 2 to 4 players to take turns making their way through the campaign, passing the controller between each turn. Each player's scores will be tallied individually at the end of the level before moving on to the next. So, yeah, I don't know much about okay, like I get what they're trying to say, how it's like that leadership board in the fighting games where you have this player versus player and there's this pillar of players that waiting that once the other player loses they take their place. I think that's what they're trying to say. I could be wrong, granted, but still I think that's what they're trying to say it is. So okay. Also, in the continuing struggle of Spider-Man pissing people off, Miles Morales will let you bring your PS4 saves to the PS5, despite that 2018 Spider-Man will not. So, yeah, they said that 2018 Spider-Man will not support save transfer. The cross-gen release Spider-Man Morales will allow players to carry over saves. You'll be able to transfer your save files to PS5. We'll share details closer to launch. Oh, God. So, they can go ahead and release... So, they can make Miles Morales be on both consoles. Save files can cross over. Spider-Man 2018? Nope, no, we can't. Because reasons. Brian Fargo says the new games are wonderful. Says that they are working on 2 unreleased RPGs. We are working on wonderful new RPGs. It's too bad they take so long to make. That's what when someone named Ordinary Person said, "Greetings, sir. I'm one of your admirers, which I'm waiting your work since the amazing first 2 Fallout games came out. I just want to go say thanks for Wasteland 3. It's the game we all you fans waiting for. I hope this kind of game comes more. Thank you." He says, "We are working on wonderful new RPGs. It's too bad that takes so long to make." So, yeah, Exile's going to have 2 games of RPGs in the works, unreleased, unknown dates, but they're still early in development. So, looking forward to that. I haven't played much of Exile's games. I tried, but I just can't. I'm used to third-person or first-person RPG, not the tabletop style. So, there is supposedly going to be a Lion King 2 remake announcement. And it will also be, the story will continue from the live action remake while also exploring Mufasa's origins, according to Deadline. Okay. Every time when I'm looking at this, I was thinking when I first read this, I was like, so what? You're trying to be the Godfather Part 2? You know, the Godfather Part 2 had taking place in the present, while flashing back to to the last main character of the first movie's past when he went to America and everything. Oh man, like man, that's kind of insane. Just Lion King, especially the live action one, it's not The Godfather. Unless you want to go hard rated R and do brutality. So, here's a list of stuff that's coming to HBO Max on October 1st. It's a huge chunk, but I will say that Cats is coming. Be very, 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 very afraid. So, yeah, there's a ton of stuff on the list. I could go into it, but it would take so long to list them out, and I'll probably lose all my tidal oxygen lungs. But yeah, Cats is coming to October 10th, so yeah, that sucks. But the majority of releases on October 1st, such as Lethal Weapon, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Superman, All-Star Superman, and Austin Powers, Balls of Fire, Beavis and Butthead, Do America, just to name a few. Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights, Deliverance, The Matrix Trilogy. Let's see, Seven, Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, and Public Enemies, Superman versus the Elite. Let's see, what other movies do I recognize? And then the subsequent days and weeks to follow. Let's see, movies I'm familiar with. Detention Adventure Season 2, Perfect Weapon, David Bryan's American Utopia, Lovecraft's Love Country, Season Finale, Smurf Season 3, Ghost Season 2, It Chapter 2, and to end October it would be Black Christmas. Also coming on Disney Plus in October, it was announced Maleficent would be the first launch on the 1st. Then we would get movies and TV show content like Secrets of the Zoo Down Under, The Simpsons Season 31, Iron Man and Captain America Heroes United, Wild Portugal, X2, The Gathering Storm, India from Above, Marvel's Superhero Adventure Season 4, Mandalorian Season 2, episodes weekly, The Owl House, Sorcerer's Apprentice, X-Ray Earth Season 1, and just, yeah, so that's just to name a few on those two fronts as part of the streaming wars. Also, as part of the deal that was announced earlier in the middle of this year regarding how DC and Spotify and Warner Bros. Are now collaborating with each other to make narrative podcasts as part of the company's multi-year partnership for DC characters, it was announced that David, let's see if I can get his name right, David Goyer has written a Batman Unburied script narrative podcast coming to Spotify next year as part of the deal. And if you recognize David S. Goyer, he's worked with Jeff Johns in the Justice Society books in the 90s. So I have complete confidence in this. So, Call of Duty Modern Warfare Survival Mode heads to Xbox and PC this week. Yay! The year-long exclusivity wasn't popular with players, so it's been 1 year since Modern Warfare came out. So Xbox and PC players can access Survival Mode after a whole year, and all I'm thinking to myself is, I don't care. PS5 might not arrive till 2021 for some GameStop Ireland customers. An email received by VGC comes with a message that says, unfortunately, due to circumstances out of our control, we've now got confirmation that we won't be able to fulfill your pre-order until 2021. Oh, God. And they did offer, however, that you could either wait it out and they'll let them know in a future wave or cancel their pre-order entirely to get a refund on the deposit. Yeah. Bad all around. Bad. Also, Target is also going to compete with Amazon Prime Day on October 13th and 14th with a massive deal day sale to compete with Amazon. So good luck with that. Corporations, People are miserable, money is being saved, but we corporate capitalism must continue storming the world. Uh-huh. Also, there has been a leaked information regarding Apex Legends, revealing future characters and a special tease of sorts. So, the next 2 years of Apex Legends may have already been leaked, according to alongside a rumor. I'll get to that. The expanded Apex Legend comes from a known leaker known as Biased12, who shared an image on Twitter posted to Reddit of a number of new characters apparently set for release in the 7 in-game seasons. Valk, Bilsk, Ash, Horizon, Fuse, Firebug, and I'm not pronouncing that last character's name. And they're thought to be offensive for only Blisk and Firebug joining the Recon class and no supports. Other recent leaks also point to the existence of Titanfall 3. Earlier this week, Brazilian streamer The Neon Beast, who has become known in the community for his own leaked tweet, is saying Titanfall 3 is real, suggesting that leakers would be able to back up his claims. In another tweet, he says, I can confirm that part, but since then, both leakers have deleted the original tweet, and Bias12 has locked down his Twitter account. However, in a follow-up, Bias12 said that while he deleted his tweets, that was only because the tweet I quoted got deleted, and that I still stand by my words. Titanfall 3 is in the works. So, yeah, and they said it's still a possibility sometime down the road, but yeah, Apex Legends, I think they did mention that Apex Legends is set in the continuity of the Titanfall universe. So, yeah, I think, yeah, it would be crazy not to do Titanfall 3, but yeah, especially since they're introducing some stuff from Titanfall series into Apex last I heard. I could be wrong on that, though. But, yeah, that's about it for this day of news. Titanfall, we ended on a potential sequel of Titanfall 3. Woo! I haven't played Titanfall, so I can't give my opinion on that. So this was fun. This was fun. Sorry, I yawned a couple of times. I have no idea why. I am a little tired, but at the same time, I'm like, I slept for 12 hours today because my sleeping pattern is just completely fucked. So, yeah. So, that's about it for the September 29th edition of Neo Reality Collective. I'll see you all again tomorrow. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. So if you like, comment, subscribe, and donate, stay tuned for more. And everyone stay safe out there. And as always, peace out.